So this is the assignment that we had taken yesterday. We concluded that to ensure continuous happiness, we need to develop three things: right understanding in the self, right feeling and right thought in the self, and competence for right living with the world outside. You can notice that third is only possible if you develop first and second. So throughout the day, note how much time you are investing in developing yourself and how much time you are spending looking outside at neighbors, relatives, friends, strangers, activities, and situations outside. Each time you catch yourself looking outside, especially complaining about others, about situations, etc., let it be a reminder to yourself to see your participation while making effort for self development. Note down your observations and we can discuss them. So, this is what we had taken as an assignment yesterday. If you could do the assignment, note your observations in your journal, then you can raise your hand and share. If any questions are there, then also most welcome. So I hope by now each one of us is able to see that three things are required for a happy and prosperous life in continuity. So we need to ensure right understanding in the self, right feeling in relationship, and right feeling is followed by right thought. And we need physical facility, which is limited. And with right understanding, we are able to make out the limit for the need for physical facility. And we are also able to see our participation with the nature to fulfill the need for physical facility. So, and that translates into your right living, isn't it? So when it comes to behavior, work, and participation, it becomes our right living based on the fulfillment of the three basic requirements. So this priority for right understanding in the first place is something which is a major takeaway for each one of us. And let us try to find out whether we have been able to place right understanding as the first priority in our life. We can also see whether we are able to ensure right feeling and right thought in the self. Now, you'll find that when you try to look into yourself, into your imagination, it may be the case that many times you are complaining about others. You are complaining about the world outside, about something in the past. So, one major shift that has to take place is moving from complaining to complimenting. Complimenting means participating for the development of the other self. So, whether I am looking into the lack of competence of the other or I am looking into my participation to help the other become competent, the two are quite different. If you look into your participation, you will feel fulfilled. And this is something that will help you awaken the activity of contemplation, because contemplation is to see the relationship. So every moment when you get some complaint inside you about the other, look into your participation. What is my role with this human being? What is my role in developing right understanding, right feeling, and right thought in the self of the other? Am I fulfilling my role? Something that happened in the past also, I can evaluate, did I fulfill my role rightly? If something may happen in the future, I can again see, am I in a position to fulfill my role rightly every time? So we have to move from complaining to complimenting, right? So my participation every moment can be in terms of developing right understanding, right feeling in the other. I can see that every human being is a relative and every human being is in the process of development. Some may be paying attention to the proposals rightly, exploring rightly, evaluating rightly. Some may be not. Some may be in the bound with some preconditionings, enslaved by some sensations, but they are also aspiring to be happy. So whatever they assume in the name of development, they are trying to do that. So I can see that every human being has the same potential, has the same purpose, has the same program to develop, and everybody has some level of development, right? So the way I am trying to develop myself, how I can complement the other in developing the other self. Now this can be my continuous program. This can be my participation with every human being, be in the family or outside. Guys, so if any question, any objection, any observation, any reflection.
Yeah, I want to. I am doing UHV from a certain long time. Actually, morning session also I have done, but sometimes I feel contradictions now also. Now, say, Bhaiya, as a part of my work, I am given responsibility of doing certain examination work or preparing syllabus and all. But whatever I found in doing this, certain people, the few people whom I have to repeat and repeat that please submit the work or please go to the invigilation duty now. So those particular people are always unconcerned or they feel not involved in that particular work of the department or as a university as a whole. But that the same person does always, and we have to always keep on reminding. So and after a certain time it becomes for me that I can understand the competence level of that person. I also share my feelings to him also, but still I found that he remains the same. He or she, whatever may be with time, remains the same. There are many particular events where I have noticed it, and at that time I feel contradictions for him. So how can we just resolve these type of issues, small issues that happen in our workplace or say at home? Because as a human being, so that particular contradiction arises because ultimately we want that the work should be perfect, everything should go smoothly, either the examination work or the home work. So Bhaiya, can you please explain?
Yeah, let me say that this is a common issue. When we are at work, we want the work to be perfect, right? And we devise ways and means to make it perfect. But we can see that the other person, whatever he or she is doing to be happy, and the work may not be ensuring happiness for the other. So whatever we do to make the work perfect may not be ensuring happiness for the other. So I have to feel related to the other. I have to see how this person can relate himself to this work, his or her happiness to this work. So for that, this kind of clarity would be required for me also. So like one proactive measure could be that we need to talk about happiness. We need to talk about prosperity. We need to talk about relationship with all our colleagues. If we are able to do it proactively, then all such issues, whenever they come, we can discuss these issues with that understanding at the background. Otherwise, we say something, the other person has some uh, arguments to make, and ultimately the quality of the work is not up to the mark. So, as an organization, we have to see that we are a team of human beings working together, and all of us basically aspire to be happy and prosperous. And we have a common program to be happy and prosperous. This has to be conveyed at the level of organization. So that's why we are saying that let us have workshops so that every faculty is at least acquainted with the proposals and is into this explorational process. Now, with this at the background, then we can talk at length. Second thing is that we can see that more important than work is behavior, and more important than behavior is the right understanding and right feeling. So, when we are talking to the faculty, also, we have to see whether our feeling is in line with right understanding, whether our behavior is mutually fulfilling, isn't it? Thirdly, generally we talk about work in the organization, and that's how we do not feel related. So we call somebody to our cabin when some work is pending. If the other person is doing work, we feel that it is okay. But where is the scope for feeling related to the other? Where is the scope for the other to feel related to me? So can we have some program where we can feel related to each other? We can share our feelings. We can talk about each other. We can get to know about each other. For example, what is happening in your family, what is happening in your life. So such kinds of concerns also have to be met. Maybe the other person is disengaged with the institution because of certain concerns not being fulfilled,
Mm.
isn't it? But I'm not aware. I'm only concerned about my work. The other
Mm.
person may have something going unexpectedly in the family because the person is not able to pay attention to the work. And the other person may be preconditioned also in multiple ways. He or she
Mm.
might be carrying some assumption about me, okay, about physical facility, about relationship, about the world, and we are not able to discuss those assumptions. So that's how, even though we are working together, we are not able to form a team. We are not able to relate to each other, and we are merely concerned about goals, goal setting, and the goals getting fulfilled. For example, the examination has to be conducted smoothly. The results have to be brought in on time. But how about the other human being? We do not have any goals about that. So we have to look into that holistic sense. Then only we can have mutually fulfilling workplace.
Mm. Okay,
Fine, Didi.
Bhaiya. Mm.
Nice, Didi.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Ji, Namaste.
In yesterday's exercise, I could see this point number 3, that is competence for right living with the world outside. So it is an opportunity for me for last 11th day and now remaining 4 days, 15 days. So whenever there are the conditions outside, for example, here in the Sansthan, means we, myself and my wife, we are conversant to have this cooler and AC and all maintaining 23 to 27 degree. But here only windows are there and fans are there. So and sometimes this due to rural area, it goes electricity. But without getting affected, if I would have been in college or there, so I would require this all conditioning. But here, if means it is very clear that by 1 and 2, right understanding, right feeling, so there is nothing right now getting morning 5 a.m. And up to 9 p.m. So I think these are the particular situations where means I am going through and rightly doing the exercise. Ji bhaiya. Thank you. Namaste.
Nice, nice, Bhaiya.
Ji ji.
So observe this. What we can do, then we can take 10 minutes of time and we can look into our imagination and see what is happening inside. Okay. Whether we are complaining about others, about situations, or we are looking into our role to complement the other. So let us observe for 10 minutes and then we'll discuss further. So we have to do this assignment, particularly the third point, right? For the next 10 minutes, sitting by ourselves. And in these 10 minutes, you can spare yourself from other activities and try to look within. Ji bhaiya. Can we put the observation remark here, bhaiya? Nice. So for the 10 minutes, we have tried to observe our imagination and see whether there are complaints in the imagination, or we are able to see our participation in the imagination, whether we are complaining or we are complimenting. What is my state at this moment? That is something that we're trying to observe and evaluate. If there is any question regarding the observation, you can raise your hand and share. Nice. So if there is no observation as such, then we can go to the content part and discuss. And maybe as we explore further, some more observations or questions might come. But keep on working on this part. Okay. You can see very much that our own imagination is making us happy or unhappy. The more we do this exercise one, you become more observant of the feeling within you, and you can see that it's my own feeling, which is making me unhappy or happy. If the feeling is guided by right understanding, I feel happy. If the feeling is not guided by right understanding, I do not feel happy. So, in the first step, we'll try to be more and more observant of the feeling. But let us go step by step. Yeah, Bhaiya, can you share the slides? So, we are doing exercise one, and this is something that we had discussed yesterday. For living with continuous fulfillment, continuous happiness, we are doing these exercises. In the first course on UHV, we had dealt with continuity of happiness, which is the basic human desire, basic human aspiration. We had concluded that in order to ensure continuous happiness, we need to develop three things: right understanding in the self, right feeling and right thought in the self, and competence for right living with the world outside. G. Next one. So, when you observe the competence for right living in the self, that is living in relationship, harmony, and coexistence with the world outside, in terms of behavior, work, and participation. So, at the level of behavior, which we do with human beings, we aspire for mutual happiness. So, when we have the competence for right behavior, then our behavior is mutually fulfilling. It leads to mutual happiness. So, with my understanding, feeling, and thought, I am happy within me, and I'm sharing my happiness with the other. The other person may not be having the right understanding and right feeling, but with my behavior, I'm able to draw one's attention to the right understanding and right feeling. So, my behavior every time is in terms of developing the competence of the other. Similarly, when it comes to work, which we do with the rest of nature, I can see whether I have the competence to work for mutual prosperity. So, on one hand, I'm trying to fulfill the need for physical facility for my body. On the other hand, I'm trying to ensure that the nature is getting enriched. So, whatever I'm doing, is it for mutual prosperity or not? So, we require physical facilities for the body, and we get the physical facilities from the nature. Generally, our concern is only limited to the availability of the physical facility. Okay, we are seldom bothered about the rest of the nature. What is happening to the air, water, soil, okay, other things in the nature. When I am taking the physical facility from the nature, so if I have the competence for right living, I also take the nature into account. I am taking so much from the plants. Am I planting trees? I am taking so much from the soil. Am I enriching the soil? I'm taking so much from the environment outside. Am I fulfilling it? Or if not enriching, at least I am preserving it, I am protecting it, I am rightly utilizing it. I can observe this very much, isn't it? When I'm interacting with the rest of nature. So with the rest of nature, I can be preserving the rest of nature, and that means enriching the rest of nature, protecting it, and rightly utilizing it. So whether I have this competence or not. Similarly, in the participation, So in the entire nature, ensuring happiness and prosperity for one and all. So participation in the larger order. So whenever I am fulfilling any program for myself, whether it is in terms of undivided society and universal human order or not, whether my vision is limited only to the fulfillment of the needs of my body, needs of my family, or am I able to see the human tradition also emerging out of it? Is my living a pillar of the human tradition? So I can see my participation up to human tradition. Whatever I'm doing, how will it contribute to the human tradition? Will it disturb it or will it enrich it? Whatever I'm doing, it is a precedence for the time to come. Okay. So there we'll also look into the ethical conduct, whether my conduct is ethical or not. If I'm doing something, okay, is it going to ensure harmony in the world outside? Is it going to set a human tradition or something otherwise? So I have to evaluate my competence in terms of behavior, work, and participation. So we are doing these observations, these exercises in order to develop our competence up to this level. So as we had been discussing, at one end, I have to work for realization within the self, and at the other end, I have to work for human tradition. The more I focus towards these two ends, my exploration becomes more and more definite, more and more sincere. I persevere more in terms of fulfilling my role towards both the ends, isn't it? And we have to be in line with this process. And I think that we keep on saying that unless I start participating for human development, whatever I'm trying to do within me may be limited to my thoughts, may be limited to my imagination. I'm not able to awaken the high level activities. For example, if I have to contemplate on relationship, I have to fulfill the relationship. If I have to understand harmony, I have to participate in the harmony outside. So the two go together. So our focus in these exercises would be like we'll work on the self first. Once we are able to set the self right, we'll be able to live in harmony with the world outside. Our major focus, therefore, will be on ensuring right understanding of the existential reality, that is self, body, family, society, nature, and the entire existence in the self. Right feeling and right thought of relationship, harmony, and coexistence in the self. We can all see that in the whole existence, it is the self which has to develop. If you look at other entities in the nature, they are in a cycle. Okay, there is cyclicality involved there. So it is the self which has to develop. It is me, it is you who has to develop. And the development of the self has a very definite meaning. It is awakening to contemplation, understanding, and realization. So whatever we are doing, it is for the development of the self. So self is at the focus. We have also discussed how self is central to human existence. So self is at the focus, right? My happiness or unhappiness is there in the self. It is not outside. So if I'm able to develop myself, then I am in a state which is naturally acceptable to me, with which I feel comfortable. I'm in synergy. I'm in harmony. So our focus would be on developing right understanding, right feeling in the self, right thought in the self. So to develop the right understanding, we have gone through workshop where we have been exposed to the proposals of harmony at all levels of living, and we have started exploring it. But whether right understanding is getting ensured or not, now right understanding could be the final outcome. Before that, we have to work at the level of thought. We have to work at the level of feeling. So the proposal is there with us, but now I have to observe the reality. For example, we talked about the self and body. We talked about the needs of the self, needs of the body. Whether I am able to observe the self and body clearly or not. Whether I am able to observe the self different from the body or not. This is something that I have to do as a follow up. So we have got the proposals about harmony at all levels of living, but now we need to observe it as a reality. Unless I'm able to observe it, it remains at the level of thought. And at the level of thought, many things might be mixed up. Something that I heard in the workshop, something that I read from a book, something that I watched on mobile, all these get mixed up. Ultimately, I'm not clear, I'm not resolved. So I have to be a pure observer to see the reality. And based on this, I have to ensure the right feeling and right thought. So to reach the state of pure observer, we may start from thought and feeling, right? We may start observing our feeling, and then we can go further to observe the reality as it is. So when I observe my feeling and thought also, I can make out whether my feeling and thought is about relationship or opposition. Is it about harmony or disharmony? Is it about coexistence or struggle? What is my present state? Now it is easier said than done. So it may be the case that even though we have been using these words relationship, harmony, and coexistence, but it will take time to observe the relationship, to ensure the feeling of relationship. Okay. So we can start from one, we can go to many, and then we can go to everyone in our observation. Whether I'm able to ensure the feeling of relationship with this person every moment, whether I'm able to ensure the feeling of relationship with all these people every moment, whether I'm able to ensure the feeling of relationship with everyone every moment. In this process, we'll see that we need to keep on working for right understanding to ensure this feeling of relationship. I have to understand myself, I have to understand the other self, I have to understand space. I have to see how I am submerged in space, how the other is submerged in space. So the more I start ensuring the right feeling in me, I get motivated more and more for ensuring right understanding in me. And then I move from contemplation up to realization. So we need to work for this. And in this exercise one, we are going to work on the self. We are going to work on the feeling part in the self and ensure that the feeling is in line with relationship, harmony, and coexistence. Ji. Any questions so far? Ji, bhaiya. So to live with fulfillment, we need to understand. To understand, we need to see, to observe, and to see, we need to pay attention. We have to be mindful. So in these exercises, we are paying attention to see, to understand, and ultimately to live with fulfillment. We tend to make mistakes in living with a reality that we do not understand. For example, we tend to make mistakes in living with relationship if we do not understand the relationship. So we want to live with fulfillment, and for that we can see that we need to have the understanding of the reality. Now, how to ensure the understanding? By observing. A very nice thing is that just by observing within me, okay, I can observe the whole existence because the potential to observe is very much there in me. I am observing my feeling, I am observing my thought, I am observing the reality, and the reality is there in this existence. So the task in some sense is very simple. I just have to observe, but it becomes complex when we are not able to set the priority for observation and we are mostly roaming in thoughts. We are mostly focusing outside. In place of observing within, we are collecting information from the world outside, right? Analyzing it, thinking over it, and trying to live on that basis. So a major shift that has to take place in our life is to be observer, a pure observer. We are observing, but we are observing at the level of maybe form or property. We have to observe something which is continuous, which is universal, which is innate, invariant. So this shift we have to take. So when we are talking about the three basic requirements, right understanding, relationship, and physical facility. Okay. So we could see that how right understanding is the first priority. Now for right understanding, becoming observer, a pure observer, has to be set as the first priority. So I have to be a pure observer of the reality. And where do I start from? So something that I'm always available with is myself, right? So I can start observing myself. So in exercise 1, we are going to observe the self. In exercise 2, we will observe the body and the coexistence of self and body. So to understand, we have to observe. And to observe, we need to pay attention. So I have to pay attention. It so happens that we are caught up in so many things that our attention is very scattered. We have so many commitments, so many concerns, so many responsibilities. Fine. But we are not able to see the basis of fulfilling all these responsibilities. So I have to fulfill the needs of my family. Fine. But have I been able to make out my needs correctly? I have to fulfill my role in the college where I'm teaching, the organization where I'm working. Fine. But have I been able to observe my role correctly? Whether the programs that I am undergoing, are they guided or unguided? Whether I have decided my programs with this pure observation or they are misguided with some preconditioning or sensation. So it's not that I have to withdraw myself from my responsibilities. No, rather I have to understand my responsibilities better. So we can keep on observing throughout the day when I'm working at home and preparing food for my children, taking care of the household needs, taking care of certain concerns in the family, health of somebody, or whatever. I can be doing that, but now at a more subtle level, I'm observing what is my role here. Okay, I can keep on observing. So I can still be fulfilling all those roles, but my role has transformed now. Earlier, I was just doing it at the level of thought. Okay, and I was not aware whether my thoughts are guided by right understanding or preconditioning or sensation. I was just doing them as a kind of routine. I was conditioned to do like that. So every day we wake up, we do certain things for the health of the body, we do certain things for other family members in the family, then we go on a job, then we do certain things which are meant for us to be done in the limited hours, then we come back home tired, we try to make ourselves fresh, we do something in the evening, feel tired, go to bed, and that becomes a routine. We are not able to observe that this is a conditioning. I've got conditioned to live like this. I'm not questioning things. So now I will be still doing those things, but I will be questioning myself. Have I been able to understand the reality? Have I been able to understand my participation with the family member, with my body, with the organization, with the people who are working in the organization? So while fulfilling those roles, okay, within me a shift is taking place. I have become observant, and for that I only have to pay attention. Now generally we pay attention outside, whether the task has been done or not, whether things are in order or not. I have to pay attention now inside also, whether my feelings are in line with natural acceptance or not, whether I'm getting disharmonious within, I'm getting uncomfortable within, I'm at peace within, or I'm struggling within. What is happening inside? So I have to pay attention. So in this exercise, we are paying attention to see, to understand, and ultimately to live with fulfillment. If uh, you are able to do it in your routine work also, well and good. Otherwise, you can spare some time for yourself, sit with yourself in the morning, in the day, at night, and then observe. That is also something that can be taken up, because it may be the case that when we are interacting, we have to work more at the level of thought. But when I sit with myself and try to observe, I can observe it more sharply. This is also possible. So I can make all those programs, but the purpose is to pay attention to the reality. You will also see that if I do not understand the reality, I make mistakes there. Okay. I may also be mindful after committing that mistake. Oh, my feeling was not right. Oh, I used the wrong language. Oh, my gesture was not proper. Oh, I did not fulfill my obligations. I did not do this. I did not do that. Fine. It's good that we are able to accept it. But why are you doing these mistakes? Why the mistakes are taking place? Because I'm not proactively observed my role there. So, for example, in a relationship, now we see that we keep on feeling unhappy at times and making others unhappy also. Now, why is that happening? Because I'm not able to observe the feeling which is naturally acceptable to me and the other. I'm not able to observe the need of the body for myself and the other. I'm not able to see how I can complement the other in terms of developing the right understanding. So I have to pay attention for this, isn't it? Now, while paying attention, there are two important aspects. One is object of attention, and the second is process of paying attention. So, what is my object of attention? This is also something which is for which I have to be clear. So, what is my object of attention? Am I paying attention only to the form of a for some physical facility, the property of some physical facility, or something which is more basic to it, the relationship, the harmony, the coexistence? So, where am I paying attention? Am I paying attention to the reality, or I'm paying attention to the events which are taking place? So, this object of attention has to be decided. Am I paying attention to my feeling, or am paying attention to the behavior of the other? Am I paying attention to my own conditionings, or I'm looking at mistakes done by the other? So, what is my object of attention? And the second is the process of paying attention. Okay. So basically, the process would be same, but when it look into the expression part, it may look different. Somebody may be using a sitting posture. Somebody may be trying to pay attention while working. Somebody may try to observe while lying down on a bed. That may be different, the expression part. But the process again would be to observe, to pay attention. Yeah. Yeah. Next slide. So we have to understand all that we live with: the self, the body, the family, the society, the nature, and ultimately the entire existence. So in the first course on UHV, we have seen that existence is coexistence. So there are units. Units are of two kinds: material and consciousness, and they are submerged in space. Units are there which are limited in size, and they are of two kinds: material and consciousness. In the material units, only the activity of recognizing and fulfilling is there. In the consciousness units, knowing, assuming, recognizing, and fulfilling is also there, right? And the two units are submerged in space. And that essentially means that I am submerged in space, you are submerged in space, my body is submerged in space, your body is submerged in space. Every unit in nature is submerged in space. Now we have to understand the whole existence. So, how to go about it? So, we'll try to understand the consciousness, that is self first, then material, for example, body, and then coexistence, space. So, this we'll do by way of the following exercises. Exercise 1 would be there, which is to understand the consciousness, that is the self, in detail. Exercise 2 is to understand the material, for example, body, in detail. And then we'll briefly touch upon exercise 3, particularly at the last step of exercise 2, which is for understanding the coexistence, the space. So for doing exercise 3, we need much more preparation because the observation has to be much more subtle. It's good that we are paying attention every day, at least for 1 hour in the morning, to the reality. But still, to be able to observe the space, the coexistence, it has to be sharpened further and further. Okay. Presently, we might not even be able to observe our thought, our feeling, but we have to go further and observe the being of the self. And then we can go further to observe the being of the self in space. So it will take time, right? But it's only a matter of our own preparation. The more observant we are, the more priority we are able to set in our day-to-day life for this pure observation. Right? It will help us go further. So there are three things to observe: consciousness, material, and coexistence. So the object of attention, which will develop the right understanding, right feeling, right thought in me, is very much definite. There are three realities. The consciousness is there, the material is there, and the space is there, that is coexistence is there. Sometimes we try to observe the material first, but what we are doing here, we are trying to observe the consciousness first, because since I am the observer, and if I can observe myself, then I can observe the material also without any kind of mixing in my observation, without any preconditioning, right? So we'll try to observe the self first, and self means I have to observe myself. So I'm there with me all the 24 hours in a day, isn't it? I have to keep observing myself, and it is such an enriching process that once you start observing, okay, you feel that you are getting somewhat, elevated. You feel that you are not getting rid of so many conditionings, so many wrong assumptions that you have been nurturing within. At times, it can be painful also, because certain things that we have tried to forget, tried to omit, start surfacing. You get reminded of things that happened in the past. You get reminded of certain relationships which have been very painful. That may be possible. But again, if you are not only observing the events that have taken place, you are able to observe the feeling, the innate feeling within you and in the other. Okay, you are able to see that the intention has been pure. Then you get resolved. So we'll start with exercise one, which is to understand the consciousness, the self in the detail. So in exercise one, we are trying to observe the consciousness by the consciousness. So I am the consciousness, right? I am observing myself. How to observe is something that we will go step by step. What to observe first and what next, that we can discuss in detail as we go step by step. Exercise 2 would be to understand the material, and the material that is easily available to us is the body with which I am interacting so regularly. So I can observe my body, I can observe my interaction with the body, isn't it? So that is about exercise 2. And then we can observe the coexistence. But for that, somewhat uh, deeper sense of observation has to be developed, and that's why we are not going to take up as a regular exercise in this morning session presently. But yes, we have to prepare ourselves for that, and the more prepared we are, okay, then we can go further and deeper to observe it. Namaste.
भैया अभी आप डिस्कस कर रहे थे आई थिंक अटेंशन एंड ऑब्जर्वेशन भैया are they synonymous भैया मतलब we can use observation are the same as attention slight
Yeah. So the way we are using the words here, so observation is the outcome of paying attention. So for example, I decide that I have to pay attention to my feeling.
yes
Okay. So I start paying attention to my feeling. At some point of time, I'm able to observe my feeling. So it is the outcome.
one example भैया slight difference
So, for example, you take the example of a body. So you pay
yes
attention to the body, right?
yes
To begin with, you pay attention to the form. You pay attention to the activity that are taking place in the body, right? But at some point of time, going through this, you are able to observe the coexistence of self and body. So paying attention is a decision that I am taking in me. Okay. So it is the initiation of observation.
yeah starting point you can
Yeah, the starting point. Now, while paying attention, I'm able to observe at some point of time. So things become clear to me. Observing means it becomes clear to me.
Okay, okay. Yes, Bhaiya. Shall I ask Bhaiya one more question
Ji,
about
please.
Bhaiya, coexistence and space? If I compare the whole, because coexistence is a basis for our existence, or space is a basis for our existence, which is upper hand, matlab, because everything submerged in space.
Yeah,
Because of that only coexistence is being seen, or because of space coexistence is seen. Matlab, both are.
yeah, yeah. So when we use the word because, we are trying to look at the cause and effect.
G.
So there is nothing like cause and effect there. It is very much there. So space is there, submergence is there, coexistence is there. So it makes no meaning to say that whether space is the cause or coexistence is the cause. It is there.
Yes, yes, yes.
It is very much there. It has been there. It will be always there. It is ever.
Both are there.
So yeah, such words do not make sense when we come to observe the submergence, the reality which is ever. When it is to do with
Oh,
activities, we can talk about cause and effect. Because I had the feeling of opposition, I shouted. That is fine. But when we are talking about no activity, there is no cause and effect.
okay.
Space is no activity.
No, no active.
And coexistence is submergence of activity in no activity.
G, G. Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice, Bhaiya.
Namaste, sir. Sabhi ko. I think, Bhaiya, this object of observation, what you said, no, it is once again with the consciousness. It is the imagination only, Bhaiya, or something else is there when we are discussing
So
object.
yeah, so here when you say the object of attention is the
Yeah,
self. So we
yeah.
are observing the imagination also and the potential to know also. That is block
Oh,
B1.
okay, okay, okay.
Even going further, we can observe the form of the self also.
Form of the self also. Okay, okay.
Yeah. So we can observe the self in totality.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Form is once again what I understand about. Is not Bhaiya there of the reality.
Pardon?
A form is once again what I understand about the reality. That's what it is of the consciousness.
No, form is like I am there, no, limited in size.
Okay.
So I can observe myself as it is.
Oh, yeah.
So I can observe the activities within the self. I can
Yeah.
also observe the being of the self as a unit.
Mm.
So
Okay.
every unit has form, every unit has property, and then the unit has relationship, harmony, and coexistence. There are
Okay.
5 dimensions of every unit. So I can observe all the 5 dimensions.
Oh. Mm. Right, Bhaiya. Thank you. Okay.
Nice, Bhaiya.
Just now, Bhaiya asked about form. That also, I also have that same doubt, Bhaiya. Does self have the form? It doesn't have any physical form. That is what I understood.
Yeah. So it is not a physical unit. It is a consciousness unit. It is limited in size. So it will have a form, no? The space is
If,
formless.
how can we say that Bhaiya, which is not having physical form, is limited? That is what, Bhaiya.
Yeah. So presently we have been able to observe the form of the physical things, physiochemical things. So we limit
Mm.
form only to physiochemical things.
Mm.
But when we say that every unit is limited in size, so we can also observe the limit of the size of the self, the consciousness. Otherwise,
That's
we take it as something
mm,
abstract. Okay, it is very much real. It is a unit. It is limited in size. So there would be a limit to the size. I can observe it. That is the form. So, for
uh,
example,
uh,
you have a
uh,
mobile here. Okay.
Mm,
Mobile is limited in
mm,
size.
mm.
Mobile has a form. Similarly, you are there in your place. I am here in some other place. I am also limited in size. You are also limited in size. So we also have a form.
These forms we are able to see, Bhaiya, but the self form we are not able to see. At that point, I'm not getting. That's why.
Yeah. So we have to observe. It is time now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we can
Bhaiya.
discuss it further. Ji,
Uh, okay,
nice.
Bhaiya. Thank you.